Well, for a cold start, it's certainly become a beautiful day here at the lake. And what I've got today is something quite special. I've got a carp bait boat. This is remote control. I've fitted a fish sonar system to it. And the objective is to run it across where we're going to fish to look for drop-offs, look for areas where we expect to find fish. It will also show me the fish numbers. Now that's not as important though as the bottom, because it's the bottom that will bring the fish. If I can get the ground bait using the carp bait boat, releasing the bait where I want it, that will bring the fish to me. So if I can find structure, if I can find drop-offs with this, with the sonar system, we can also pre-bait the area with it. So with the remote control system, I can control the operation of the boat and the ground bait release bait, which is operated simply by engage the red button, and that will release up to 5 kilos of ground bait into the area I want it to release to. In terms of the engine control, that's a separate servo altogether. So there's no crossing over your bait getting released at the wrong time. So that is forward, reverse, and then a full 360 degrees of turn by running the remote control system as I want it to. Okay, so with the fish finder system, that's linked to a sonar which is attached to the rear of the boat, and this will give me water temperature, bottom depth, structure, even bottom density, what the bottom actually is, whether it's silt or gravel, and thirdly fish, and the depth those fish are at. It'll come up in either a large fish or a small fish symbol.
So what's that? What are you doing?
Making a dense ball of ground bait. It's quite a heavy mix, this ground bait. It's quite moist. And the idea will be that it will stay basically together until it hits the bottom, because when it's released from the boat into about 3.5 meters of water, you don't want it falling apart as soon as it comes out. What you want it to do is to stay like that, hit the bottom, and then disperse as a ground bait. So I'm putting a fair bit of effort into trying to condense it. Insert those into the bait. You can put a lot more in. What we'll do now is put the boat in, run it out into the area we're going to fish, pick a mark on the far bank that's within casting range, so that once that bait is released, my own bait will actually be cast into that same area. So I'm establishing quite quickly a blank area, and I can run that boat out 2 or 3 times with ground bait in it, disperse it, even put in some loose feed. If I wanted to put in corn or maize or something like that, I can put that in as well. Engage the 2 motors. As long as I don't get a canoeist first. So 2.8, 2.9, 3 meters. Probably where I want to drop my bait. So I'll engage the doors. And there goes my ground bait. So between that white shed and that marker board. Okay, well there were 2 responses then that were probably tench, because they were about 30 centimetres pair of fish off the bottom and came across as big fish responses. Another fish. There's a shoal of fish coming through there now. So they're all at 2 meters depth, so they're 50, 60 centimeters off the bottom. Alright, so what I'm going to go through is a basic feeder system setup. Free running feeder clip, that goes on first. A rubber shock absorber bead, that's threaded on next, followed by the swivel. because I'm using braid, I'll use a uni knot. Braid scissors to trim the braid. Feeder. Shock absorber bead comes down. Push the swivel into the open end. Like that. Feeder then clips to the clip. That's your rig.
Okay, so is it set? Is it to a
That's
certain...
now set.
What distance is the...
So normally you want it to lie like that, so that your ground bait pool has the bait in it. If you had too long a trace, say 2 feet, your actual bait will be away from where your ground bait's distributed. So normally 6 to 8 inches. Okay, with this one, I've hair rigged onto the back of the hook a piece of plastic corn. Now this bait is designed to rise up and sit like that. The piece of tungsten putty there holds that piece of trace from there to the swivel on the bottom, and the bait sits up like that. The idea being that the fish will come along, see that, see only the piece of bait, and inhale it from there. That's your standard feeder rig. Now what we do is we fill the feeder with our ground bait, real corn, and look to consistently cast it where we have previously.